Alright, we're back again here with a Lord of the Rings review. It's now time for the Two Towers. Okay, it's the middle part of the trilogy. I'm going to say right away, it's very late right now, so you'll have to excuse any tiredness, any yawning, anything that happens in this video that may seem that's not part of the plan is not part of the plan. Also that, I know I'm a little bit behind on this, but you know what, I'm going to get it done before Thanksgiving weekend is over, so as long as that's gets done, the time I want it to get done, then everything will be on track. Okay, so we're gonna start out with my personal experience with Two Towers. Now, when Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring came out, and then that same year I went to see another movie in the theater, one that I won't reveal, and I saw the trailer for Two Towers, and I so desperately wanted to see this movie. But, of course, my parents were too afraid. It's 3 hours long, you're going to fall asleep in the middle of it. I was only about, 6, 7 years old when this came out, so yeah, I waited for it to come out on VHS, DVD, and we bought it right away, and I was just blown away by this sequel. It was so good, and it is to this day very, very good for a sequel. Part of me wants to say it's not as good as Fellowship of the Ring, but then part of me says it's better than Fellowship of the Ring. So I don't know. Maybe by the end of this review we'll find out. But okay, I guess we'll start right from the top here. Instead of a prologue this time, we get kind of a recap of Fellowship of the Ring with Gandalf's story. Especially, we get a scene where we get to see what happens to him as soon as he falls off from the bridge. And by the way, there's an opening. The opening shot is actually this really, really long shot of the Misty Mountains. I want to credit again cinematographer Andrew Lesnie. Terrific job. Well, on every film in the trilogy, but this one especially, right from the opening, good stuff. And also the score by Howard Shore. So yeah, we get the scene where Gandalf falls and we see, oh, he doesn't die right away. He actually fights the Balrog. And once again, glorious looking Balrog. It's one of the finest digital creations we've ever seen in the last decade or so. So yeah, it's great to see this thing again, and an even better and longer fight, actual fight between them, which some kind of claim is a little ridiculous, but I say bring it on, it's awesome. So then the title comes across and we finally see Frodo and Sam again. And we get right away in this sequel, we see that they haven't gotten way too far since the first film left off. Of course, it's probably, maybe a day later, maybe even less than that, maybe just a few hours later. And we see that Frodo and Sam are these hopeless heroes. They wander around in circles, they're being watched, they're being followed, they're never going to make it. We definitely fear for them that they're just not going to get to Mordor, that they're going to fail. And it's really kind of an interesting thing just to guess, are they going to make it or not? And of course, if you've seen the end of the third movie, then definitely you know if they make it or not. But yeah. So then Gollum sneaks up on him and they capture him, and they end up releasing him because he's making too much noise and they're afraid that he's going to distract even further. So they release him. And we see right away this is a gamble. This is a big, big gamble. Because Gollum could, and he said he's going to show them the way to Mordor since they're going in circles, and he agrees to swear on his devotion to the precious, to the ring itself, that he will guide them to Mordor, to Mount Doom. And, actually to the Black Gate, but they're going to get to Mount Doom after they get past the Black Gate. And we see this as a gamble because Gollum could lead them anywhere. He could lead them back to Hobbiton. They probably wouldn't know the difference. They'd just take the long way around. Or he could lead them to Isengard and then they'd be captured, or to Gondor and then they'll be captured again. All sorts of different places, and it's a gamble, big gamble. So then we're reintroduced to the trio, if you will, and that is Legolas, Gimli, and the leader Aragorn. And they all have they're chasing Merry and Pippin, who've been captured since the last movie, and these three characters, all different races, all with their distinct personalities. We have Aragorn, who's the tracker, who's the obvious leader of the bunch. We have Legolas, the follower, and we have Gimli, who's the, I don't know what else to say, but he's the kid in the back seat that's kicking the seat of the driver. He's the guy that's kind of just along for the ride. He's kind of the annoyance, but he serves as the comic relief for the audience. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but we stab the enemy either way. So yeah, and it's a great trio. And then naturally there's a scene where the orcs finally stop and they argue about what they should have for dinner, and Merry and Pippin come up and they say we should have them for dinner, and the orcs actually results in cannibalism. It's something weird. Like it's been a little while, but it's been a little while since I first noticed. But back then I didn't even notice. But they are cannibals. Yes, they chop one orc's head off and they start to eat the meat that's left over, and it's just creepy. I don't know. I don't like that part personally, but we see that Merry and Pippin, they still represent death. All the orcs die because then the riders of Rohan attack and kill them all. They're led by Éomer, who is recently banished from Edoras, the capital, if you will, of Rohan, supposedly by the king, Theoden, who's actually controlled by Grima Wormtongue, who's under the control of Saruman of Isengard. So, it's kind of an interesting story with Rohan, which turns into the full, or I should say the central point of this big plot we have here. And then the trio are, they stumble across them and they ask what happened to the hobbits. And Éomer says, well, we didn't leave anybody alive, so good luck. Good luck finding your friends. They're probably dead. So the three mourn. We see, once again, and it's a theme throughout the entire trilogy, that this fellowship is close. And if they lose anybody, they are sad. They do not like to lose people. And of course, it's Aragorn's tracking abilities that actually reveals they are alive and they're in Fangorn Forest. It's a nice moment that these three can be human, even if they're technically not human, to show off their emotions. It's something you usually don't get in a trilogy. The few exceptions, of course, probably being Star Wars and stuff like that, where they take time out to show that these people have emotions, they have feelings for each other. Not necessarily lovey feelings, but friendship. Definitely friendship.